Page 59, on top of Old Smokey. At the top of the page, they're introducing you to changes in tempo or changes in speed, which means you're going to slow down or speed up. Now, I typically ignore these when I play with a metronome because a metronome doesn't slow down and speed up. But when you're playing without a metronome, then you have to work them in. And the idea is you count at a regular tempo, and then you either start counting a little slower or you start counting a little faster on purpose. People will do it, but they'll do it by accident. You gotta do it. Man, be aware of your tempo or your speed. At the top, they say ritardando. That's a great big old long Italian word. Means gradually slow down. Most of the time, they don't write out the whole word. You'll see it either as retard or R-A-T period, rit. I say I don't rit with the metronome because the metronome don't rit. Then you also have accelerando, which is another great big long Italian word for gradually speed up. And its abbreviation is ACCEL period. Now again, the key word is gradually. You're not just all of a sudden going a different speed. It's like if you're going to slow down, it's a train slowly coming down to a stop, except you don't come all the way to a stop, you just slow down some. Or a train starting out where it's picking up speed, that's a accelerando. We're gradually increase from whatever speed we're at, we're just going to increase whatever I don't know how much we're going to increase. Who knows? It depends on the piece and the situation. But then we're going to go to a new speed. And a term they haven't introduced yet is the a-tempo, or a-tempo, which means go back to the original speed. Resume your original speed. That puts you back where you were. And that's usually abrupt. You just suddenly go back to where you were. They'll get to that eventually, but I just thought I'd throw that in for kicks and giggles. I'll repeat it when the time comes. Another symbol they're introducing, you got so much coming at you. But they're introducing the fermata. The fermata symbol, it's like a little curved or a half circle almost, and with a dot in the middle. Now the circle can be above or below the dot. That's not important, but they give you an example. And in this piece, look at the very last measure of the piece. At the bottom, above the staff, there's a fermata. It's a dot with that half circle. That's a fermata. And then the left hand, you'll see it there. It's a dot with the fermata. It means hold it longer than normal. The problem is, you would say, how much longer than normal? And like everything else I'm saying is, I don't know. It's felt. How long do you think it ought to be held? When I play with a metronome, as we're doing in these videos, I just take the value of the note and I double it. Because that way I can stay with the metronome. In this piece, the fermata's in the last note of the piece, so it's not a problem. But a lot of times a fermata is in the middle of the piece someplace. So we have to know when to go on, and we want to go on with the metronome. So I just double the value. So in this case, at the end there, that half note gets 2 counts in 3/4 time, which this is. So I would double that, and I'm going to hold that half note for 4 counts instead of 2 because of the fermata. Now that's the way I work those. Somebody else can work them different, but that's what I do. A couple little fine things I want to talk about. I'm not going to do it when we do the play with me, but I want to make sure you understand. In the very last measure of the piece, you see the dynamic given is 2 P's, PP? That means very soft, because we've had 1 P was piano, that's soft. 2 P's is pianissimo, that's very soft. It doesn't mean it's twice as soft just because you doubled the P's. That's not right. Very soft is just a little softer than soft, because you can get softer than this. So don't get carried away. But in the measure before it, you have that decrescendo. So you're going to gradually go down, and they're telling you how soft to get. So if I play the last ending, it was there. I'm just going to kind of die away. And the left hand, the notes get a little softer. And then there's the RIT period, means to slow down, the ritardando. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like so. It's an effect. You have to practice these effects too. and it adds a whole lot to the music, so I encourage you to do them. Remember, the dynamic applies to the melody, so everything else has to be under it. And the melody is the top note in the right hand. Good luck with that, but do the best you can with it. Now, with all that, let's try this out. There's really nothing tricky about the piece itself that I can see. It's in the key of C major, no sharps or flats. Your hands, you know, you're not necessarily in a nice 5-finger position. I mean, they're telling you in the left hand 4. I'm telling you 3 works good because that's the chord, and that's the fingering for the chord. So why not just use 3 on the F? It's up to you. Use 4 if you want to. Then in the second line, when you go down to this chord, they're telling you 4 on the C. Fine if you want to, but I think because the chord is fingered this way, you can just as easily use the 3rd finger on the C. In the 3rd line down, 2nd measure, where you get this chord, their fingering is good, that works. Unless you want to use the thumb on the F and G together, then you can use 2nd finger on the D. Have some fun with it, who knows. The right hand, you just playing it. We have to use the 4 and 5 on the dotted half notes because we just used the 3 and then here. Isn't that fun? Oh boy. Remember all the tied notes? You just play the first note and hold it down for the length of all the notes that are tied. And the second line, those half notes or dotted half notes in the right hand, you're going to play the first one and you're going to hold it down through all of that. So it's like 3 counts, 6 counts, 8 counts. You're going to hold it down for 8 counts total while the left hand does its thing. Oh boy. You got tied notes at the bottom to there. You'll get them. That's no big deal. This has a 1-note pickup at the beginning. So instead of 3 counts, I'm going to give you 2 and we'll play it together. So let's try it and see what happens. Remember the 1st and 2nd ending at the bottom? Well, so right hand, left hand, okay. Ready, go. Repeat. Off.